also a 300-pounder. They're all over 300. Spencer Holston is the
Well, it's about 3:45. We just got settled into the blind here, got everything situated, and we're excited. This last week, we had some rain pass through, and it has greened stuff up a little bit. So this clover in front of us, and even these turnips seem to have greened up a little bit. So I'm kind of excited about that. They were looking pretty tough because of all the dry weather we've had here in southeast Iowa. So anyway, excited to be here. We've got pretty good west wind, which should be in our favor. And yeah, we'll just see what happens. We're hunting out of our redneck blind for the second time now, and it's nice to be in here. We're comfortable. Just looking forward to what might step out. So anyway, sit tight, and hopefully we will have some action to bring to you. So we'll see what happens. Max. We just had one of our hit list bucks come in, G3, and he was kind of skirting us. He's kind of getting a little bit spooky, and so anyway, I tried to take a shot, but I was a little bit lower than I thought when I tried to shoot. Anyway, I hit the edge of the window, edge of the blind here. So pretty sure clean miss. I have no idea, honestly, where my arrow's at. So anyway, just nicked the blind, unfortunately. So anyway, that's where we're at. Darn it. So tough mistake. I thought I was going to be able to get through the window, and just didn't work out. So anyway, we're going to get out. We're going to go make sure. I'm confident it was a clean miss. I'm not sure where my arrow went. So we're going to go and see what we need to do. Well, we just got out of the blind. We came down to where G3 was standing, and anyway, didn't find any blood at all, and I actually kind of tracked him through the fence line, probably about, I don't know, 20, 30 yards over to where the CRP starts, and actually found my arrow stuck in the ground. No blood on it at all. So I actually must have ricocheted just off the lower part of the window and made its way all the way down here. So tough lesson to learn on a really good buck. I'm just grateful for the fact that I didn't wound the deer. Upset with myself for, I don't know, just making sure I had a clean shot out that window. Obviously I didn't. I don't know what else to say. It was just a mistake I made, and I'm gonna learn from it and make sure that it never happens again. But anyway, it was a fun night to be out. We saw a few does, quite a few does actually. They just spooked, and then our target buck came in, and unfortunately I just didn't make the shot. So we'll get back after him later in the season though. We'll see what happens.
Good evening, folks. Matt Thede here with the Outreach Outdoors team. It is the afternoon of October 17th, and I apologize. I have not been able to get out very much here lately, if at all, really, up until now. But there's a couple reasons why I'm out here. Number one, I picked up COVID last week, and so I'm kind of coming off the final 5 or 6 days of that, and symptoms have gone away, and so no better place to isolate than in a deer stand away from people. So that's what I'm doing here by myself here tonight. But most importantly, number one reason why I'm out here tonight is that we had a buck show back up called the Flat Beam 8 from last year, and to say he put on some antlers this year is an understatement. So you can see how his main beams just kind of wrap around really flat, but he picked up some extra points, and man, he's about, I don't know, 21 to 23 inches wide on the inside, I believe. But he is a hefty deer, and he's been showing up here on the south side of the farm, and as of lately last night in the Big Oak area. So I can kind of lay that out on a map for you here at some point, but needless to say, it's the main reason why I'm headed back to the South Tree planting here tonight. So I'm going to try to get in between where all those photos are taken, and there's hopefully lay eyes on him in the daylight. So I don't know if he's going to show up on this farm during the daylight yet. But the closer we get to November, the better our chances are. But I do believe he's coming out and doing some feeding before the end of legal shooting light. So I'm going to see if I can see him in this field to the south, and if I do, I might try to call to him and bring him in. But regardless, he's an impressive deer, and one that I'm super excited to go after. So Tokyo's going to have to take a break until we put a good, honest effort after the Flat Beam 8. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm going to go get set up and just kind of settle in and see if we can't find him tonight. Well, made it up into the stand here, got set up, harnessed in, got my bow up here in camera. It's a little bit before 5 o'clock right now. The wind has kind of shifted out of the south, so I ended up coming down here a little bit further to the east so that my wind wouldn't blow through this tree planting in front of me. So needless to say, I don't expect the Flat Beam 8 to come anywhere close to out of that direction. He's going to come definitely from the south and the southeast, so really hoping that I can get a chance and just see him out here and take some notes, and then if I have to, I can go ahead and call. But really, the footage you're going to see is really coming across this field, and then there's really just one trail that comes out in front of me in a small window about 15 to 20 feet. So the footage probably won't be that great once he comes into the timber here, but needless to say, hopefully we can get some eyes on him out in the field before he comes in. So it's really an all or nothing sit here tonight. This isn't a spot where I would normally sit. It's just a kind of hey, let's just see what we can see here tonight. So gonna settle in. Hopefully the warm weather doesn't push them back out off their feet here for a while, but I have a feeling it might. So I might be waiting for the next cold front to come through and then and then see what happens. So, all right, here we go. October 17th. There's at least 12 does out in the field at one time here. I don't know how many I saw tonight, but pretty good set. No flat beam 8, so. They're right behind me, so I'm gonna have to do a sign off here. All right, it is Monday, October 18th. I'm gonna give a quick interview on the first 2.5 weeks of season so far. I've sat pretty much every day since October 1st, and it's been very, very slow here in West Michigan, at least for me. All of my spots so far have been way slower than usual with very few deer encounters. I try and fill a doe tag early each year, and I just really haven't had the opportunity this year so far. I don't think deer numbers are down. I think it's just because of the heat. A lot of movement has been at night recently. I was hoping that this recent cold front last weekend would push some deer movement a little heavier so I could fill a doe tag, but yeah, I really didn't see much of an uptick in movement. I saw a few in the distance and through thick brush that I couldn't film through, but other than that, it's still just been relatively slow. I'm looking forward to this weekend again, another cool down around Thursday night, and I had an encounter with a doe 2 Saturdays ago now at 30 yards. Didn't have my release on. I just had got my camera set up, hung my bow up, and was getting ready to put my release on and settle in, and she popped out at 30, and by the time I got my release on, she was out of range for my comfort zone. And then I passed on a small buck the first 4 days of season, somewhere in there, 1.5 years old, and I had a fantastic encounter with one of the shooters last night, actually Sunday night, the 17th, and came into 22 yards. It was picture perfect. He needed to walk about 15 yards out into the clearing that he was in for me to get a shot on that side of the tree, and a big gust of wind came and it knocked a bunch of branches and leaves down, and there was not really a whole lot I could do about it. He got super spooky when all those leaves fell, started looking around, and took a few bounds out of there, and he was gone. So I don't think he was real aware of me being there. He was nowhere near my scent trail, and nowhere near where the wind was blowing. He was in a very safe zone, and yeah, that was kind of an early season heartbreak for me, and I'm hoping that things just start to heat up in the next coming days and weeks, and I can lay eyes on him again and possibly get a shot at him or one of the other shooters running around the properties. And I'm real excited for November to roll around to be able to get into my lease and try and tag a buck there. So far, my strategy of staying out till November has been paying off the last couple of years, and I'm hoping that it does again. So yeah, I'm gonna probably give it
another week or a week and a half, maybe 2, to try and get on a doe before the rut kind of starts, and I'll be shifting my focus to bucks, and I'll go back to does in the late season. But for right now, yeah, I'm hoping that a shooter strolls by. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to take a doe on one of the lesser key properties for me. And yeah, otherwise, once late season rolls around, I'll go on doe patrol once more. So just figured I'd give you guys a quick update from the stand. And yeah, thanks for watching Midwest Whitetail and Outreach Outdoors.
So coming in here tonight, Brian and I, we just decided that this was going to be our little doe fest of October. Well, ideally, it would be our doe fest of October. Brian already talked about it a little bit, but this property, 10 years ago, it was in crops, rotational crops, so corn and soybeans. And then this is a permission property from a family friend, and they took it out of agricultural crops and put it into a prairie, native prairie. So put a lot of money into bringing it into a native prairie. The seed itself is very expensive, but then it takes a number of years before the prairie is sustaining and free of those invasive weeds. So it's pretty incredible. It is full of deer. Brian and I came out here last year. We didn't do a lot of filming out here, but we had some great success, and I think every sit we had doe up on top of us. So we're hoping that happens again tonight. The property owners have asked us to thin the herd a little bit, so we'll see what I can do. Coming in here, Brian and I both had one doe tag in our pocket for this county, and we're hoping to use those up tonight.